Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video I want to tell you what happened to me in the last couple of months and why I ran away to other side of the world and eventually came back to Ukraine. Of course, this video is more for my regular viewers who have followed my life before, but if you're on the channel for the first time, welcome and stay with me. Here on the channel I tell about ordinary life in Ukraine before and during the war. So let's start. So in this video I'm going to talk about the most stressful period of my life that almost turned fatal for me and why I lived on coffee for a month. Also about where Bonnie is and why I lived with a dog for 2 weeks. So we separated from my husband. We were together for over 12 years. I have never told the details of my personal life and I don't plan to. In the video you can see my move as well as more than 10 kilograms of clothes that I gave to charity. But yes, this period in my life was much more difficult than anything else, even more difficult than the death of loved ones and everything that has been happening for the last 3 years in Ukraine. Now I'm going to my friend in a small town near Kyiv and I'll be staying with her for a few weeks as I decided not to stay there myself during this period. In general, as far as I know, divorce feels like the loss of a loved one and is no less painful. We remain in normal human relations because we are first of all two normal adults who at this period of their lives came to a certain decision. It happens, that's life, and this period just needs to be lived through. But sometimes it just turns out to be very hard in the moment. You already seen the review of my friend's apartment, and this is Lil Lou, my friend's little dog, who I am staying with next week on my own since my friend is going away for a week. Animals are actually a great distraction and a lifesaver, but it's still very hard at times. Also, I came several times to Kyiv on business and now I have no car, so I ride public transportation. In Ukraine it's more developed than in America or Canada, but not as in Europe. And if in summer it's fine for me, then in winter I have to wait 15-20 minutes for a shuttle bus. It's terrible, but for now as it is. Also, sometimes I rent a car for a couple of hours through a car sharing service or borrow one from my friend when it is not busy. Actually, in Ukraine, you can buy a normal car from $10,000. Loans, mortgage, very unprofitable history in Ukraine. So far, I move by transport and cab, well, and while it's not cold, I walk a lot. Of course, I distract myself as much as I can. I work a lot, continue to learn English. Sometimes I see my family or friends. I have no strength to do sports at all, but all this helps partly and my nervous system failed. I began to feel very bad. Several times I fainted and decided to go to the doctor. After the examination, I was told shocking news for me, namely that I have a pre-stroke conditional. After thinking for a few hours, I decided that I needed a strong burst of positive emotions and bought tickets to the other side of the world to travel alone to the place of arrival. Spoiler alert, it took me 45 hours to get there and 35 hours to get back in Ukraine. So I already arrived at the train station, railway station in Kyiv 2 hours earlier than necessary because I was afraid that there would be shelling and then some bridges in Kyiv would be blocked and traffic jams would break out all over the city. Of course, airplanes don't fly from Ukraine, so you have to choose another way. I take two trains to Krakow, it's a city in Poland, then one day I walk there and then I have two airplanes. I left Kyiv when it was 28 degrees Celsius and in Poland I came there only 8. When I return to Ukraine there will be the same already 5 Celsius degrees. The last time I flew on a plane before the full-scale war and COVID, it was about 4 years ago. And when we took off, I cried for about 20 minutes from the realization that just in the neighboring country are flying planes and we have military helicopters, missiles and drones. The road for me was very easy. Probably I have a state of apathy, so I wasn't nervous for anything, although I was flying by myself. And in general, for the first time in my life, I went so far away. Where exactly I flew, I will tell you in the next videos on the channel. If you have any guesses, write in the comments. A few hints show you. In fact, I wouldn't have come back to Ukraine if I didn't have Boniek. Now he is with my ex-husband, but Boniek is more attached to me as I am to him. And financially now I will not be able to move from Ukraine, as living in Ukraine is in any case cheaper than in the same Europe under the same conditions, even so it's much more dangerous. I'm going back to Ukraine in a week. There are constant air alerts here now, and you worry about your loved ones more than when you are in the same city. The trip back was harder because of the long overnight transfer, but shorter. I arrived at 5 a.m., waited half an hour for the subway to open, and came for a couple of days, first to my parents and then to my sister. I feel like a person without a home. After that, I rented an apartment for a couple of days. Now you can see its review, and started looking for a permanent place for myself and Boniek, of course, Boniek. Actually, I haven't seen Boniek in over a month. It's so long for me. The prices. The prices for renting an apartment in Kyiv are very high now. A lot of people from frontline cities are moving here as it's easier to find a job here. On average, to rent a normal apartment, a one bedroom, together with utilities, costs from $500 or $600. For example, a year ago, it was possible to rent for $400. And these are sleeping areas, not in the center of the city. In the center of the city, it will be more expensive. Plus, because of the war, there are many nuances, as after the shelling we may not have water, light, electricity, and housing on low floors or with gas are more expensive than on high floors. Plus, many people don't want to rent to people who have animals. Well, and plus when you rent in Ukraine housing, you pay for the first and last months, and in addition to the realtor, a real estate agent. In general, moving is a very expensive pleasure. It took me about 2 weeks to find a permanent place to live, and now we moved with Boniek. The place we moved into I'll also show you real quick, and I'll make a full review in a separate video when I've cleaned up, put everything in order and moved all the things finally. I'll tell you honestly that when you are busy it seems easier, but all the same such things don't live quickly. At the same time, I believe that pain is a fact and suffering is a human choice. I don't know how to suffer for a long time. It never leads to anything good. So now I'm trying to continue my life. To live my life as it's now, and time will help health the roots of the soul. If you want to support me, I will be very happy and madly grateful to you. Probably now I need support as never before, including financial and moral. You can find the links in the comments and description below this video, and for everything else it will just have to be a matter of time. Now I'm all in work on my projects and YouTube including. By the way, my parents have a cat too. It's Katie, and she is so funny too. I love animals so much. By the way, write if you have animals, how many and what their names are. And now I'll show you our permanent home with Boniek. It's got everything that we need. I thank you for watching and apologize that there were a lot of tears in this video, which is not typical of me at all. And I think you understand that the nervous system cannot be in order at such times in life, but everything will be fine in time. Thanks again to each of you for watching and for your support. I promise a lot of new videos on the channel. I'm already working on them, and about my travel and about life in Ukraine and about prices here and so on. It will be interesting, so stay with me and Bonik, of course.
See ya.